What a massive revelation about the vicious attack on Bron Breaker. Paul Heyman just pulled back the curtain, and the name he revealed has sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling world. Bron Breaker. The name alone makes your spine tingle. The second-generation monster who's been tearing through WWE like a hurricane with no conscience. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. This wasn't just an attack. This was a statement. This was a declaration of war. And Paul Heyman, the wise man himself, the special counsel who has manipulated championships and careers for decades, just confirmed what we all suspected but were too afraid to believe. So buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you will change everything you thought you knew about the Royal Rumble, about Bron Breaker's future, and about the absolute chaos that's about to consume WWE. Let's rewind to that moment. Royal Rumble. The spectacle of spectacles. 30 superstars, one ring, and dreams of main-eventing WrestleMania hanging in the balance. The energy in the arena is absolutely electric. Fans are on their feet. Countdown clocks are ticking. Entrance music is blaring. And then, darkness. Not the kind of darkness you expect. Not the theatrical, orchestrated darkness that comes with a planned entrance. No, this was different. This was ominous. This was the kind of darkness that makes your heart skip a beat because you know something terrible is about to happen. And then we heard it. The crashing sound. The screaming. The pandemonium backstage. Cameras rushed to the scene, and what they found was absolute carnage. Superstars laid out. Equipment scattered everywhere. And in the middle of it all, like a tornado had just ripped through catering, there was evidence of pure, unadulterated violence. Medical staff were rushing in. Referees were trying to restore order. And the WWE Universe, both in the arena and watching at home, were left with one burning question: who did this? Names were thrown around immediately. Was it a returning legend looking to make an impact? Was it someone from NXT looking to crash the main roster party? Was it an elaborate mind game from someone already in the match? The speculation was running wild. Social media exploded. Wrestling forums were on fire. Everyone had a theory. Everyone had a suspect. But nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, had concrete answers. Days turned into weeks. WWE played it close to the vest. They gave us breadcrumbs but never the full meal. Mysterious vignettes started airing. Cryptic messages. Surveillance footage that was always just blurry enough to keep us guessing. It was the kind of storytelling that WWE does best when they really want to hook you. When they really want you to lose sleep thinking about what's coming next. And then Paul Heyman appeared. Now, when Paul Heyman shows up on your television screen, you know something monumental is about to happen. This man doesn't waste his breath on trivial matters. Every word that comes out of his mouth is calculated, deliberate, and loaded with implications that will echo for months, sometimes years. He stood there in that ring, microphone in hand, with that knowing smirk that has become his trademark. That look that says, I know something you don't know, and when I tell you, your mind is going to explode. He began to speak, and the arena fell silent. You could hear a pin drop. Ladies and gentlemen, he started, his voice dripping with theatrical gravitas, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am here tonight not as an advocate, not as a special counsel, but as a messenger of truth. A truth that has been hidden in plain sight. A truth that will reshape the very landscape of WWE as we know it. The crowd was hanging on every single word. Heyman has this gift, this supernatural ability to control a room with nothing but his voice and his presence. He continued, 4 weeks, you have all been asking the same question. Who attacked those superstars at the Royal Rumble? Who had the audacity, the sheer unbridled aggression, to lay waste to WWE's elite before they even had a chance to compete for glory? Well, I'm here to tell you that the answer has been staring you in the face this entire time. He paused. The dramatic pause. The one that Heyman has perfected over decades. The one that makes you lean forward in your seat, that makes your heart race, that makes you forget to breathe. Bron Breaker. 2 words. 10 letters. And the entire wrestling world just tilted on its axis. The reaction was instantaneous and explosive. Half the crowd erupted in shock. The other half erupted in excitement. Because if you know anything about Bron Breaker, you know that this revelation isn't just believable, it's terrifying. This is a man who has been compared to his uncle, the legendary Scott Steiner, and his father, Rick Steiner. This is a man who carries the genetics of one of the most dominant families in wrestling history. But Bron isn't just writing on his family name. Oh no. He's been carving his own path of destruction, and that path is littered with broken bodies and shattered dreams. Think about what Bron Breaker has done in his relatively short time in WWE. He dominated NXT with a ferocity we haven't seen in years. His matches weren't just athletic competitions, they were statements of dominance. When Bron Breaker is in the ring, you're not watching a wrestling match. You're watching a predator hunt its prey. Every movement is explosive. Every strike looks like it could end someone's career. His gorilla press power slams don't just take opponents down, they look like they're driving them through the mat and into the Earth's core. But here's where Heyman's revelation becomes even more fascinating. He didn't just name Bron Breaker and walk away. No, Heyman provided context. He provided the why. And the why is what elevates this from a simple attack to a full-blown conspiracy that has layers upon layers. According to Heyman, Bron Breaker didn't act alone in his thinking. This wasn't a moment of rage. This wasn't an impulsive attack born from frustration. This was strategic. This was calculated. Heyman revealed that Bron had been overlooked. That despite his obvious physical dominance, despite his undeniable talent, despite his legendary lineage, WWE management had been slow to push him to the main event level. They had been content to keep him in the upper midcard, to let him simmer rather than letting him explode onto the main event scene. And Bron Breaker? He got tired of waiting. He got tired of being patient. He got tired of watching other superstars get opportunities that he felt should have been his. So he did what any apex predator would do when they're tired of being held back. He took matters into his own hands. He created his own opportunity. And the Royal Rumble, that grand stage where careers are made and legends are born, became the perfect hunting ground. Heyman painted the picture vividly. He described how Bron systematically took out potential competitors before they ever got a chance to enter the match. It wasn't about winning the Rumble in the traditional sense. It was about sending a message that was louder than any victory could be. It was about proving that when Bron Breaker decides he wants something, no amount of tradition, no amount of protocol, no amount of security is going to stop him. The genius of Heyman's revelation is in the storytelling. He positioned Bron not as a villain in the traditional sense, but as a force of nature that was inevitable. He talked about Bron the way you'd talk about a storm that's been building on the horizon, that everyone saw coming but nobody properly prepared for. And now that storm has made landfall, and the destruction is only just beginning. But wait, there's more to this story. Because Heyman didn't just reveal Bron as the attacker and leave it at that. He dropped another bomb that has everyone talking. Heyman suggested, with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer, that he himself had been in communication with Bron. That perhaps, just perhaps, the wise man had been whispering in the ear of this young, dangerous superstar. That maybe Paul Heyman saw in Bron Breaker what he's always looked for in his clients, unstoppable potential combined with the willingness to do whatever it takes to reach the top. Now, Heyman didn't explicitly say he was managing Bron Breaker. He's too smart for that. He left it open to interpretation. He left us all wondering, is Paul Heyman orchestrating Bron Breaker's path of destruction? Is this the beginning of a new Paul Heyman guy? Or is Heyman simply acknowledging greatness when he sees it, giving credit where credit is due to a superstar who took destiny into his own hands? The implications are staggering. Paul Heyman has a track record of aligning himself with the most dominant forces in WWE history. Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Roman Reigns. These aren't just superstars. These are names that define eras. These are names that will be remembered 50 years from now when people talk about the greatest to ever do it. And if Paul Heyman is indeed putting his stamp of approval on Bron Breaker, if he's indeed playing any role in Bron's trajectory, then we're not just watching the rise of another superstar. We're watching the beginning of something that could dominate WWE for the next decade. Let's talk about what this means for the immediate future. The Royal Rumble has come and gone, but the fallout is far from over. Bron Breaker has painted a target on his back the size of Texas. Every superstar who was attacked, every superstar who was denied their opportunity, is going to want revenge. We're talking about potential dream matches. We're talking about grudge matches that could steal the show at any pay-per-view. We're talking about a scenario where Bron Breaker might have to fight his way through an entire roster of angry, motivated superstars who want to make him pay for what he did. And you know what? Bron Breaker probably wants exactly that, because that's who he is. He's not afraid of the numbers. He's not afraid of the challenge. In fact, he thrives on it. Every match is another opportunity to prove that he's the most dangerous man in WWE. Every confrontation is another chance to showcase that explosive power, that raw intensity that makes him special. Think about the potential storylines this opens up. Imagine Bron Breaker going toe-to-toe with some of WWE's top stars in a series of grudge matches. Imagine the promos. Imagine the intensity. Imagine Bron standing in the ring, possibly with Paul Heyman by his side, daring anyone and everyone to step up and try to take him down. This is the kind of storytelling that creates WrestleMania moments. This is the kind of storyline that could carry WWE programming for months. And let's not forget about the broader implications for WWE's landscape. Bron Breaker's actions at the Royal Rumble, and Heyman's revelation, have effectively put everyone on notice. The old guard, the established main eventers, they now have to deal with a young lion who isn't content to wait his turn. The new generation is here, and they're taking what they want by force. It's a changing of the guard, but not the peaceful kind. This is a hostile takeover. From a fan perspective, this is absolutely electric. This is what we live for as wrestling fans. We love the unpredictability. We love the chaos. We love when someone breaks the mold and does something so audacious, so bold, that it forces everyone to stand up and pay attention. Bron Breaker didn't just attack a few superstars. He attacked the status quo. He attacked the established order. And in doing so, he's made himself the most talked about superstar in WWE right now. The wrestling community is divided, and that's exactly what you want. Some fans are calling Bron Breaker a genius for taking matters into his own hands. They're praising his initiative, his refusal to wait for opportunities to be handed to him. Others are calling him reckless, dangerous, someone who disrespected the traditions and the integrity of one of WWE's biggest events. But here's the beautiful thing, everyone is talking about him. Everyone has an opinion. And that's what makes a superstar. Not universal love, but undeniable relevance. Paul Heyman's revelation has also sparked discussions about his own future. Is this the beginning of a new chapter in the Paul Heyman story? After years of being associated with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, is Heyman pivoting to a new client? Or is he playing a more complex game, positioning himself as the puppet master behind multiple superstars, pulling strings we can't even see yet? With Heyman, nothing is ever simple. Every move has 3 meanings, and every word has 5 interpretations. What we do know is this: Bron Breaker is no longer a rising star. He's arrived. He's here. And he's not asking for permission anymore. The Royal Rumble attack was his announcement to the world. Paul Heyman's revelation was the confirmation. And what comes next is going to be absolutely unmissable. As we move forward, every Bron Breaker appearance is going to be must-see television. Every match is going to have an edge of danger to it. Because we now know what he's capable of. We know that he's willing to cross lines that others won't. We know that in his mind, there are no rules, only results. And that makes him one of the most compelling characters in all of professional wrestling right now. The beauty of this storyline is that it writes itself from here. Bron Breaker has created countless enemies in one fell swoop. The path to redemption for those who were attacked is through him. The path to proving they're still relevant is through him. Bron Breaker has essentially made himself the final boss that everyone needs to defeat. And whether he realizes it or not, whether Paul Heyman planned it this way or not, that's the most valuable position to be in all of wrestling. So here we are, standing at the precipice of what could be one of the most explosive eras in recent WWE history. Bron Breaker, the second-generation superstar with unlimited potential and zero patience, has forcefully inserted himself into the main event conversation. Paul Heyman, the master manipulator, has put his seal of approval on this chaos. And the WWE Universe is left watching in awe, in shock, and in absolute anticipation of what's coming next. This isn't just a wrestling storyline. This is a cultural moment in WWE. This is the kind of thing that people will reference years from now when they talk about the key turning points in modern wrestling. The Royal Rumble attack. The Paul Heyman revelation. The rise of Bron Breaker. It's all connected, and it's all leading somewhere massive. And you know what the crazy part is? We're only at the beginning. The Royal Rumble was just the opening salvo. The real war hasn't even started yet. Bron Breaker has lit the fuse, Paul Heyman has fanned the flames, and now we're all just waiting for the explosion. And when it comes, when Bron Breaker finally faces the consequences and the challenges that his actions have created, it's going to be nothing short of spectacular. This is why we love professional wrestling. This is why we invest our time, our energy, our emotions into these storylines. Because when it's done right, when the stars align and the storytelling clicks into place, there's nothing else like it in entertainment. Bron Breaker's Royal Rumble attack and Paul Heyman's revelation have given us exactly that. A perfect storm of athleticism, storytelling, and raw emotion that makes you feel alive as a fan. So to everyone watching, to everyone who's been following this story, to everyone who's been debating and discussing and dissecting every detail, you're witnessing something special. You're watching a superstar being born in real time, not through careful management and slow building, but through fire and fury and the sheer force of will. Bron Breaker decided he was ready, and he took what was his. Paul Heyman confirmed it. And now the entire wrestling world has to deal with the consequences. Make sure you're following Wrestling Impact because we're going to be breaking down every single development in this story as it unfolds. We're going to bring you analysis, perspectives, and insights that you won't find anywhere else. This story is far from over, and we're going to be here for every twist, every turn, every shocking moment. Hit that like button if this revelation blew your mind like it blew ours. Drop a comment below with your predictions for where this story goes next. And subscribe to Wrestling Impact so you never miss a moment of the absolute chaos that Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman have unleashed on WWE. The revolution isn't coming, it's already here. And it's more dangerous than any of us imagined.